toss-up for sure. And
Oh, absolutely.
I'd say in general, the way that these map picks have gone down, even though, for example, Vertigo, here's the map choice of alternate, Endpoint can play it, they play it a lot, and they are good on it, and then Train as well is also a map that alternate are capable of playing, so this is serious that I'm not really going to be given much of a prediction on. I'm just in for some great CS.
That's such a good way to put it, and absolutely agree. No predictions, let's just keep it clean. Let's see where it leads us to. Endpoint, the pistol is live. They're going to be making a bit of noise, a bit of commotion towards the B side. Stefan can be lucky to be alive in this instance. Immediately headshot it, now being able to pull away to safety. For the time being, of course. And with that in mind, we are going to be seeing a little bit of a commotious approach by Endpoint towards B itself to begin with. And going back towards a ramp and potentially finishing the round itself on A. Skrunk, the IGL, he's got utility to work with, the smoke, flash, nade, and surprisingly a lot of utility on aTTaX in general. Mirbit with the kit and the nade, while Skressi dropping, I believe early on, already a flash and having a smoke to work with beforehand. Double nade into Cement. Endpoint trying to be cautious about this. They themselves going for a lot of utility. Still having 2 smokes though will give them an entry onto site, perhaps even an unobstructed one. And indeed, that is going to be the case.
Yeah, there's still nades though for the CTs, 2 of them that could do a serious amount of damage on towards Surreal as he tries to plant and indeed actually going to be able to deny it. I wasn't sure if maybe he'd be able to just about get it in place, but no, the kill comes through. They're able to get an extra few seconds for the rotation to be set up before that bomb goes down, and as you can see now, all of the CTs in position. It is going to be difficult for Endpoint to try and actually hold this off now and stop them from going forward, including having the kit obviously on Mirbit. Smoke's down, not going to be on the bomb itself, instead to just try and limit the angles that Endpoint can be facing from, and indeed that's exactly what they've done. They've even got a little bit of a one-ray right there. That did show the legs and could have given a bit of a chance, but it doesn't matter. The headshots are just being connected. Rax is there to go ahead and end it with his second of the round, and alternate, they kick things off with a pistol here on Vertigo.
I mean, this is as good as it gets for alternate attacks. We know how quickly things can go wild for them. I believe you and I were covering them last week, didn't we? We saw them against Saw, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no, apologies. No, we did not. You were doing the morning games with the alternate attacks was playing against Honoris when we cast them.
Oh, that's who it was, yeah. I knew I had covered them. I was like, I don't think we saw, but I knew we definitely had covered them. Oh, yeah. Okay.
This is going to be a little bit hefty. Let's find out if it perhaps develops into something more for Endpoint. They do start off well with taking out Skrunk. Unfortunately, Mighty Max getting caught in the swing. But yeah, alternate attacks, like last week when we watched them, they were a little bit shaky. They definitely had their ups and downs, and they barely were able to pass on through the playoffs themselves. But yesterday displayed an amazing structure and what really they were made for, what really they were practicing for. And today, I hope to see the same aTTaX as we are used to seeing. And we've already mentioned they did win the Eden Malta vibes yesterday against, of course, Endpoint. So this rematch might be a bit of a sour aftertaste in the matter of Endpoint. If they're unable to secure themselves, some sort of a revenge party, I guess you could say. A bit of damage dealt here, by the way. Quite a few players lost on the side of aTTaX, so it's not exactly pristine, not perfect.
Yeah, no, I would say Endpoint definitely looking for a bit of revenge. They want to be able to at least get one of those tournament wins, and
yeah,
as you said, maybe have something at least to celebrate about, because obviously you don't want to be losing both of them. Maybe we've got a new rivalry forming here. This could be a banger rivalry, to be fair. Alternate up against Endpoint, and we see them in a few more tournaments as well.
That'd be pretty amazing, actually. Yeah.
I feel like in terms of what they bring as teams, they're both kind of similar, so you just always know you're in for an exciting match. But yeah, the guns are available now for Endpoint, so this is where they really want to get those rounds starting to actually add on towards the board. A lot of damage by the nades right there, and even a follow-up peek then by Skrunk, so they've got full control now around the bottom of the ramp. That limits, obviously, Endpoint quite an amount right now about what they can actually do in this round. They've got time so that they could try and go back in towards back in towards ramp later on and get that control, but for now focused a bit more around B and mid. As you can see, I don't think Stefan's going to expect Crucial here just because he had already peeked up close. So indeed, Crucial, he had the drop Stefan potentially, but he had been spotted, unfortunately, when Stefan jumped up. The trade at least being found, and elsewhere, Mighty Max even taken down Skrunk, so they have finally been able to put a stop to that ramp aggression. Or was that back around towards mid? I'm not sure exactly where they came in. Yeah, no, Skrunk did try and follow up with the aggression.
Yeah, Skrunk tried to go for the flank on ramp, and he got caught. Now Slax has embedded himself deep into the lines of the enemies, and he's gonna get both here, maybe the third. Yes, it will be the 3. And Slax, he usually displays his prowess with the op. Here, he displays it even with a rifle. I think that in itself speaks volumes. Surreal. The clutch is on. He's going to have to pull off a quad, and he can do it. It's not impossible, but it is highly improbable. With 20 HP left, his time ticking away as faster as one can imagine. Oh, he's going to pick... yeah, he's going to pick Castle, but Mirbit is a little bit faster, unfortunately. That is going to be a wrap. 3-0 as aTTaX... I mean, damn. Yeah, that works out like a charm, doesn't it? Even though they lost 3 players again. I mean, sure, economy's being dropped down the drain, but they are winning rounds. That's what matters right now.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried when Skrunk died to the aggression over on ramp. I wasn't too worried even when they lost the 1 player over on B, because that was fine because they had the ramp control. But once that trade came back, I was a little bit afraid. But as you said, Splax, when he was needed, stepping up big time with the rifle and showing what he's capable of, and allowing for Alternate to go ahead and bring themselves up to a 3-0 lead and likely a 4-0 off the back of course, only facing some pistols and Kevlar here in this round. So we'll see what Endpoint can find. They want to at least try and keep accumulating that damage, which of course up to this point they have been successful with. There really isn't any money in the reserve for Alternate, so 1 round loss would put them in an awkward spot. Thankfully, they have the chance to actually build up some economy here. So as I said, Endpoint, their goal is to try and stop that from happening. Oh, Mighty Max is in a bit of trouble. He's pinned in the corner. I doubt he's going to be able to get much done unless he just doesn't peek. And the Molotov, not quite as deep as they would have hoped for. I don't think it's actually going to force him out at all.
Doesn't look like it. Although, Skrunk wins the fight against Mighty Max, loses a good portion of his HP. And now Stefan holding the line here towards B itself shouldn't be too much of an issue. In at least realizing what's going his way. A bit of a boost there. Something we rarely get to see. Endpoint trying to abuse the smoke and trying to get over it. It's not meant to be, though. This pistol round ends as it began, with nothing for Endpoint. Or at least should be ending as it began.
They're managing to deal with those pistols indeed. So just the 1 casualty. They're not really going to be too worried about how that one went down. Able to stop much from being found, considering there was investment into Kevlar on a few of the players, even to back up those pistols for Endpoint. So they were probably hoping for more than just a single frag. Even the bomb plant would have been quite helpful. As you can see, the nades somewhat lacking on Robin. Crucial doesn't have a helmet, only has a single flash to back up the op as well. But they have enough anyway. This is another potential round here for Endpoint to try and get into winning ways. Even with 4 surviving there in that previous for Alternate, they had used quite a few of their nades themselves, so a lot of reinvestment still did have to come in. You can see it is still a position where the 1 round win from Endpoint could start giving them a big opening back in. But yeah, Skrunk going for the aggression over towards ramp. We've seen it in the first gun round where he just dropped down. This time instead creeping around the scaffolding. And even with a player being up close around that smoke, he is just too quick. An opening kill, and looking like Alternate are happy with it as well. They don't want to continue to aggress around this area.
I mean, the position that Skrunk is usually using is that that corner spot right here in yellow and towards short scaffolding. Most definitely a very dangerous spot to be playing, but with the deep smoke complementary with the rest of the teammates helping him out, they can take that control quite comfortably, knowing, you know, they have some sort of an element of surprise. Endpoint shouldn't be too surprised next time they go for that, though. They need to be more anticipating of that kind of angle. Speaking of yesterday, by the way, Alternate aTTaX against SG Pro, they struggled a lot. They won the half 8-7, and they barely were able to win the series in general, the map in general, 19-17 in OT. And it was thanks to Mirbit, and it was thanks to Cressy that they won the map with. So this time around, this is already a better start than yesterday. And given that this map is their best map, effectively, Endpoint, if they were to snag away perhaps at least a few early rounds on their T side, there is good chance that could go well enough for the future. Let's find out. The plant has been made, and point 4v4 has Surreal finds himself one.
Yeah, this could be it. This could be the opening back into it now for Endpoint. Unfortunately, Robin is low on health, but everyone else looking relatively healthy, and that's needed because without the nades, it is going to have to be just these fights that are taken. Thomas finds the opening, and spam there, I believe, through the smoke from Crucial on the up, actually tags up Stefan, and with that, they decide instantly that they do not want to go for this retake anymore, and I think it is a completely reasonable decision to be made as well in this position, considering, as I said, the damage had been done in those previous rounds from Endpoint. I'm sure they lived with the 4 in the previous one there, but they had spent so much to get their mollies and their HEs and everything back into this one that without saving, at least, they wouldn't have enough to buy. Thankfully, they do save 3 weapons, so Mirba and Cressy both able to drop. Scrunk could buy for himself. We'll see what way they work it out. I think maybe having the extra weapon dropped over, since Mirba would still be able to get himself a few nades, would probably be the better choice. And yeah, that's what they go for. Scrunk is given an M4. So they have absolutely everything into this. They're lacking 1 kit, which isn't a big deal when you already have 4. They don't have the op, but they've got pretty much everything they require here to be able to try and fight straight back into it. And I say at least that they required and to try, because unfortunately it's not really starting off too well for them. They tried to peek over towards B. I think even landing a nade to do some damage, just unfortunately not being able to actually even fire off any shots, just instantly being denied any sort of aggression.
Oh, Scrunk, though. You would think him to be pulling back. You would think him for being a little bit weaker as an IGL, not having the firepower. Well, think again. He holds a ramp control by himself, by his lonesome. And not only that, deploys the smoke, making sure Endpoint cannot pass unnoticed. As Stefan is now having to play solo towards B. It's a bit of an interesting decision here by aTTaX that they're decided to play it like this. Good nades. Stefan brought down low. That's going to be Surreal to frag him out. Still going to be a second player on site. That Slag's blinded heavily, but he's able to win that duel. And that's a vital point to be made, because right now, Endpoint, they've got the time on the clock, yet they are running out of options when it comes down to the players. Thomas and Robin with a single Molotov on the angle. Slacks times it to perfection. Again, hides behind the corner just as Robin is trying to refrag. But the return journey is made, at least the return kill. Still a 1-on-2. A difficult spot here for Robin, especially with the time left on the clock. Good single out as he takes out Cressy, now against Scrunk, low HP. This is a doable position for him. Baits out the peak, and I think he gets it. Yes, he does. Robin, 200 IQ play there.
Yeah, and the 1 versus 3, that is massive right there for Endpoint, that Robin is able to pull off that clutch. Without it would have been alternate just continuing to build up the lead. But yeah, this play by Scrunk, it was huge, being able to find those 2 kills and salvage what had been a poor start into the round, and it gave them such a nice advantage, but unfortunately just not able to close it out. He actually ended up being the man as well who was left in that 1 versus 1, and with the damage he had already taken, just isn't able to pull it off. Instead now, you see alternate scraping together the investment. It is a couple SMGs, some pistols, a FAMAS there for Scrunk, and one where everything really is relying on this investment, because if they lose out this round, then they definitely are looking at the eco, meaning Endpoint at that end, rather, would be actually tying things up, so it would negate that kind of early lead, that early advantage that we had seen from alternate. But obviously you can't count out this buy. We've seen some crazy stuff done with less, and this boost, I think, could catch them off guard. He wasn't showing himself initially when it was actually checked right there by one of the Endpoint players. So yeah, once he does pop up, it's pretty much just a free kill. Just about escapes as well. Took some damage, as did Slacks, but the main thing is they got that advantage. They got it at least. They've now lost it. That's not ideal with Slacks being gone.
I'm not sure why exactly Slacks played it like that, but
he had to move out of...
I mean, he had to move out of cement, right? He had no other choice. Yet still, it comes as a bit of a surprise that no support was offered to him on the exit. 40 seconds. It's an A commitment, that much is certain. Endpoint have relinquished every single other point of the map for that in favor. And smart choice to change out the weapons, take the CZ. And 25 seconds now and counting. A nade still available on Mirbit. Could do a little bit of damage on the planter, if utilized. On short, where's the hold on short? The pop flash though didn't really break stride for Thomas. And a lucky break here, Endpoint seemingly getting this round without too many further losses at least.
was about to say some pretty good damage at least being done with Thomas being low and Robin tagged up as well, but as soon as Mirbit himself takes a bit of damage right there, they decide to bail, and again, understandable considering they have absolutely no money on both of the players who are living right now. They have zero, so it is pretty much needed so that they can have at least something to try and do something and to do anything really in this next round, get a couple kills at the very least so that they don't allow for Endpoint to just build up such an incredible economy here on their T side. You obviously you have an easier time on the T side being able to build up that economy to find some security. We've seen alternate even with 4 rounds in a row, with one of those being convincing. They weren't really able to build up any money at all. It's not the same on the T side. If you can keep getting that bomb down, if you aren't losing too many players, it's less expensive, of course, even if you do need to drop over 1 or 2 rifles every couple of rounds or so. So you can see at least slightly the economy's a little bit better here for Endpoint, but the thing is they get the chance now to improve on it even further.
The best opportunity right now, of course, as you said, aTTaX did lose quite a few players in the rounds they did win, and of course that has its own ramifications. Skrunk, he's playing around this smoke, very dangerous position to be working around with. As the smoke starts to fade, so does his chances and so does his life. aTTaX, they are specialists for vertigo, yet sometimes they tend to forget that or forgo that. And yesterday was a good example of how not to play vertigo by SG Pro. Out of a total of, I think it was 36 rounds in OT, SG Pro went to probably about, I would dare say, 15 rounds. So, you know, aTTaX only had to deal with an A push, but oh, wait, what just happened? Slacks double with a USPS. Stefan one more on Crucial. This is starting to get a little bit out of hand. Luckily, Stefan, never mind, luckily, Stefan is only good for 1 as Surreal saves the day. Holy hell, that was a painful round to watch, though. Endpoint barely getting away with the victory. Luckily, Surreal is truly Surreal and salvages it. But as I was saying, aTTaX, they had to deal with the A-ramp push about 15 rounds in a row from SG Pro. So maybe they're going to be thinking that Endpoint will have the same kind of ideology here, going just A-ramp continuously. Hopefully that's not the case, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, even just, I was going to say, even just being a little bit more cautious with nades and such. What happened there? Did he just have his knife out? That's why I was really confused.
Yep, he did.
Yeah, maybe just expecting that quick ramp push and nothing around mid, but no, Endpoint, they switch things up and it pays off. They catch pretty much a player caught off guard completely on mid. There was absolutely no contest in that position. Give themselves the chance then to just split in towards B, and I've already ended this round. I mean, it barely begun. The first player didn't even... Well, truce? Maybe they were saying truce.
Well, I mean...
I don't know, I'm just...
White flag flying?
You think you would have at least heard the footsteps a little bit earlier. It can be hard to tell where exactly they are, to be fair, sometimes.
Still, it was a little bit... Yeah, it was a bit wonky seeing the mid control being lost that quickly, that easily. But it is going to be Christian Slacks. Last 2 standing. Obviously saving what they can. And we can see that Endpoint equally afraid for their economy. They know that the dangers of being forced into eco rounds themselves are very much real. And they want to make sure they get a bit of a bank going before they start playing a bit more openly, before they start taking matters into their own hands. And already the advantage being formed as they find their 5th. The full buy for aTTaX will be remade, reforged in the fires of Mount Doom, and hopefully not for the purposes that the ring was made. In any case, Skrunk, he's going to be playing his aggressive spot towards A ramp, most likely once more. Exactly so, and he has the advantage here. Mighty Max tagged already, takes out the AK, switches it in between, and we're back to square one. Endpoint lose the first entry.
Oh, nearly able to return it with that shot connected on the Cressy, but not quite. Oh, Skrunk! I thought he was maybe still going to be able to find that kill, but not quite. Thomas is able to deny it. He keeps on trying to go forward. And Slacks will not miss the op shot. This is a little bit weird. They probably should have been a bit more complacent maybe with this control here on the ramp instead of having Thomas go forward before even the Opper could get into position, as you see. And the Opper also being left kind of solo to take that initial fight. And yeah, Slacks is just picking them all off. Robin left alone, a 1-on-4 as this round does just not go the way of Endpoint at all. Torn apart again on the ramp. They seem to be really struggling with being able to actually contend with that ramp aggression. Sure, Skrunk only gets 1 kill this time, but getting the 1 kill, doing a bit of damage as well, and really just being able to delay things and ensure obviously that Slacks and another teammate were nearby ready for that push once it did come in. He's doing plenty. They are struggling to be able to fight for this ramp control on the side of Endpoint. Thankfully, they have another buy, but they spend everything here. So a chance for Alternate, if they win this round, to have a chance to again start building up that lead for themselves pretty dramatically, I would imagine, at that point.
It is pretty dramatic ending, that is for certain. A bit of a hold up, finally a bit of a slowdown. For the first time in the 10 rounds we're seeing, there's a bit of a not necessarily passive approach from both sides, but Endpoint is definitely starting to be a bit more cautious about A ramp, starting to realize that, you know, even though they can be fast on towards the site, there's a quick price to be paid as well if you're not careful. And right now we can see the retake of A ramp is going to go successfully. The Molotov's burning away Thomas as he's not sure where to go, whilst his teammate Mighty Max is literally obliterated by 2 players peeking in. A perfect concoction built by aTTaX. And this is very akin to the banana retake we see in Inferno. You drop the Molotovs, you drop the smoke, the flash, and you go in to find the refrags. Or not even the refrags, but the openings rather. As Slacks finds himself another, Endpoint is being shunted away for this 11th round.
Oh, just being torn apart right there. Slacks and Cressy end it 6-5 as Alternate have done it. Indeed, they've got themselves back into the lead. They did lose it, but just for 1 round before being able to reclaim a couple for themselves here. Obviously, we've seen that streak of 5 rounds for Endpoint, so we definitely don't want to count them out, but at least for this one now, they are left on the eco, so Alternate likely to go up towards 7. But if Endpoint can get even... I mean, 1 more would be okay, but ideally I think they would be aiming for 2 more to try and bring it up to 7 once they do get back onto the guns here. But we'll see. Again, they've been struggling with this ramp control for a while, putting down the smoke a little bit deeper there to potentially give room to move forward, but not really wanting to do anything too aggressive from either side, I guess. It makes sense definitely for Alternate to be willing to slow things down here in this one, knowing what they're up against. And I am kind of thankful that Skrunk wasn't aggressive on ramp again, because Mighty Max was waiting with a Tech 9, and we know how scary that weapon can be.
Dude, I love the new, I really started to enjoy the Tech 9 again. Like, I've started to play with it, and it's actually really good. You just have to be a bit careful with the recoil, and you're good to go. Like, you can even run and gun like it's nobody's day, and let's see how it goes here, as there will be a pop flash blinding Cressy. Skrunk, as you said, lucky to have not pushed earlier, or he would have been in dire trouble. This time around, he is able to defend the site very effectively. Slacks is being left to handle the corner. A bit of damage dealt, sure, as aTTaX do lose 1, but they are not going to be concerned overly due to that, as we do have a full buy. Endpoint, no AWP for Crucial in this case. He's still at 0. Oh, man, I just now noticed.
Did not even notice that.
Oh, dude. Ouch. Yeah. No assists, 0 kills, 0-10.
Don't know how else to say this, but he is quite crucial to the team, so... It's, that's not even meant to be a pun, that's what I mean. I don't know what other way to say it. I could say important, but crucial's
no, he
the
is
more...
crucial.
Yeah,
like,
he really is.
He's the pertinent element of their squad. Like, without him... He's always been performing. He's always been there.
He's gotten naded to bits. Thankfully, Thomas still gets the opening for them. Just expecting Skrunk to be up close, understandably so, how many times he has been. So I am thankful that they're able to deal with it eventually. Eventually, Tom's the tank engine. Yeah, maybe he's the engine that's going to move them forward now.
You saw the meme, right? from 2 days ago.
There was
from
a,
yesterday.
I don't know. Was it a picture of his face on Thomas the Tank Engine?
No,
Seen a
no,
few of those.
it was the whole video. It
Oh,
was
okay.
literally the
Yeah, I
whole
think
video.
I don't think I watched it all, but I think I saw the post.
He pulled like, I think he pulled like 55 frags in 2 maps, something
Jesus.
more than that. Yeah, it's like he really pulled a fast one and just carried Endpoint to potential victory. And well, Endpoint certainly relying a little bit on their individual performance when things are not going as planned. This time around, the plan is not going to be as bad actually. They've been denied the plant, sure, but the retake for aTTaX is going to be nigh impossible, especially since it's a 5-on-3. Well, a 3-on-5 for more exact. Yep.
Yeah, they're just cleaning this up. Mighty Max is going big when needed. We're a bit pinned in the corner, so there really was absolutely zero that he could do from that position. He gets a couple of kills, but he was not going to be surviving. He wasn't going to be winning, and he didn't have the option to run away and save either. So yeah, Endpoint, they're able to get that 6th round. Crucial. Still yet to get one on the board, but he's got the op period now at least to work with. So maybe he'll be able to do so soon. And I feel like once he does start getting some kills, that he'll probably start to feel a little bit more comfortable and hopefully, in general, find more success. Sometimes it can be that first kill that's the biggest hurdle to overcome. But yeah, obviously they're up against another buy from Alternate, and there would be another in the following round. So you can see for Alternate, at least they're not going to be worried about money for the rest of this half. But ideally, they are aiming to try and get that 9-6 scoreline themselves, so that they can kind of feel as good as they should have at one point, considering the start they had. There's no way they don't expect this, though. He's thrown in a smoke from close. I think he actually wants to go aggressive. Yeah, it is going to be flashed in. Mighty Max is sticking around. Spray it down low and finished off in the end. Crucial even takes a small bit of damage for the collateral damage there in the background as he's put down to 69. Normally a nice number, but not in this case.
Oh man, yeah, it would be like that, wouldn't it? Nice numbers and all. Hard to find somebody that likes it as much as you do usually, but it is going to be Stefan. It's going to be holding on to the B site. There is support in the name of Cressy, and who better to hold the line than Cressy and Stefan, the deadly duo here. And in this instance, Surreal denied with a good pop flash coming through. Cressy, though, trying to be a bit frisky, getting himself caught. This time around, it's Stefan to support that as Mirbit follows it up with a counter flash. Now, as we can see in this instance, there is a little bit of control being exerted by Endpoint towards the stairway, and with Stefan being caught, they definitely open up a venue of attack for the site itself, though the problem is Skrunk, the problem is Mirbit, and the problem is Slacks. How do you get rid of them? Well, the answer has to be crucial here. He needs to get at least 1 or 2 kills minimum, with the op especially. He's denied even the 1. Ouch!
He did get the leg, but yeah, not quite able to finish it, sadly.
Ouch. This really starts to painfully look like a very one-sided first map. I mean, it's... Yeah, sure, 6 rounds to Endpoint, but I think we can both agree to the fact that Vertigo is predominantly fairly, let's say it's a tiny bit T-sided, yet in essence still not as, you know, it's hard to pinpoint it exactly. Like, it really depends on the team. But then again, it is kind of like, I would dare say it's 60-40 or 55-45 in favor of the T's, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say a fair enough assessment. I think teams are adjusting a bit more to the CT side as well, though, and are becoming stronger in general, just getting better feelings for how to play it on the fly even. But yeah, I mean, Endpoint, you definitely would be expecting a bit more of the T side here. And although this is the map choice of alternate aTTaX, Endpoint, they're normally a very strong Virgo team. So definitely aiming for a little bit more. In the 7th round, it's still a possibility, as you can see. They've gotten that bomb plant. Sure, they took some damage in their efforts of getting it in place, but at least now they do have the 5-on-5. They have the opportunity to try and bring it within only 1 at the half time. And look at this, Tech 9 up close for Thomas, only able to get 1, unfortunately. But he done a bit of further damage as well. He needs his teammates though to step up. The smoke's down at the moment. They're making it so difficult to know what's going on. And they feel the pressure because of that, forced to try and make the play happen. Meaning by the time that flank eventually comes in from Mighty Max, it is just a bit too late for him to do anything. They got it though. Yeah, okay. Yeah, did he actually? He didn't stop the defuser though, I don't believe. Did they just hop off it?
Yeah, I think they just stopped defusing, thinking that they had not enough time. And well, They went
Endpoint
entirely
saying,
wrong.
thank you. Yeah, that looked like it was lost. That was a really good retake as well from alternate attacks with the wall of smokes down to just completely take away any sort of info for the T's to work with. We seen because of that they had to try and push up close, and even then there was a player up in the back who was able to get a bit of vision above those smokes.
Well, speaking of potential, this second half might bring out some. Endpoint, they secure a somewhat relative okay first half. 8-7 will be commendable to say the least given how it all began. As aTTaX now having to play on their T side. They've got 2 smokes, a Molotov even. And usually this would insinuate an A execution, with a Molotov flying either into tower or potentially even into castle. Let's find out for ourselves, shall we? As the execution is not yet set to go, as the flanks are being checked and covered. Begin with Stefan. He gets the entry. Mighty Max a little bit too frisky, trying to get himself information that, well, he was not ready to overtake. And that's a failure on the part of him. As Endpoint, I don't think they can afford to lose players like that, at least not in this current instance, especially not since the execute is yet even to begin.
Yeah, not quite yet. They're moving back pretty quickly, though, on this T side, so they are going to be in position real soon. And I like that Endpoint have called for the full stack, but it looks like they're going to fight it actually quite aggressively. We'll see now how this is going to work for them. They may even be able to catch these players setting up the smokes. As you can see, that is the place for is the case for a couple of them. And Crucial, he is finally going to be able to get onto the board. Did he just get his first 4 in one round? Indeed, he has. 4 to 12. He's made up massively. He has infinite number more kills right now. Apologies. I'm words. They're just really hard. I've only got like 4 hours of sleep, so I don't know.
Hey man,
they're all jumbled up in there. But yeah, Crucial. Yeah, that's one way to do it. That's one way to kick things off. Hopefully, that's going to give him now a resurgence in confidence so that he can step up, because it's definitely needed for Endpoint. You're not going to be saying it was his fault or anything that they had a bit of a poor first half or a beginning into it, but definitely lacking that up presence on the T side, it can be hurtful. But if he's able to step up now on the CT side, he can still have a ton of impact.
Absolutely. I mean, it's vital that he got that kind of a start, right? That morale boost is unprecedented, and it's hard to really make a better turn of the page, if we can say so, than something like that. The only thing better really would be a full ace, but even then, that is already wishful thinking as it is. In any case, Endpoint, they're fairly certain they know they're up against the force buy. Now, aTTaX, they are very keen on their force buys. They pretty much like to go for them all the time. And you would be surprised how many times they actually won them. They're legit. Many of the times, they actually get a victory from a force buy you would never imagine possible. Especially on Vertigo, even.
It just happens too often in CS in general.
Oh, yeah, I agree. It does. It's like something that the teams and the players themselves seem to regard as an easy round, which is anything but easy.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially against Deagles, they have the ability to send the AK to take your head off in just one shot. So if the player is hitting those one taps with the AK, there's nothing to say they can't do it with a Deagle as well. Maybe a few less scenarios where it's going to be useful, such as the close quarters fight sometimes, but overall still definitely capable of stealing away these rounds. They've gotten the bomb plant, sure, but still in this position, though, it should be a pretty straightforward retake right now for Endpoint, I would imagine, especially as Crucial extends the advantage they already had. And yeah, similar smokes to what we've seen coming in from the alternate buys when they were going for these retakes. Bit of a gap around the edges right there did give some hope the mere bit, but Thomas doesn't care. He runs through, shuts down any sort of hope that they may have had, and builds up his own bank in the meantime as well, because he got himself 3 on that UMP. It was pretty much all SMGs that were able to get the frags, apart from 1 from Crucial on his M4. So that's pretty much what you want to see. You want the SMGs to be building up the money while they can. You want your Opper ideally to be adding a bit to the bank as well, so that he can secure the funds for that AWP as early as possible. But into this round, just some pistols again being upgraded for the T side. So I'm imagining that opportunity is still going to be there for Endpoint to keep on building up the economy. If they can stabilize it, unlike alternate, then they could definitely be in a better position. Where, of course, going into the first gun round, sure, you have the weaker weapons overall, but as long as you have enough for the reinvestment, it takes a lot of pressure off your shoulders. You can play that round a little bit more loose, and you can have those weapons be more effective.
Oh, absolutely. Effectiveness is always an issue that can be an even bigger part of the problem than anything else if you're playing with the op. You need to be very aware of your surroundings and just prepared for what comes next. In this case, aTTaX, you know, if they had to deal with an op in this instance, probably wouldn't be too much of a problem to shut it down with a few flashbangs. And, you know, if you're not feeling it as Crucial was not, there's a chance that op could be dropped before long. But let's see what exactly goes down in this case. There's a bit of a gap in the smoke. Skrunk, he's going to be able to abuse it, getting himself a drop on Mighty Max. That's an UMP. Not much, but it's something. It's perhaps a venue of attack that now, or a tool that allows the venue of attack for aTTaX to expand. And here we go. Here we see the full A commitment. Smokes being deployed. Nades being thrown into tower. Oh, that's actually a great nade. A secondary to complement that. As both Crucial and Thomas are tagged quite heavily. Crucial at least gets himself one. That's a good start.
Indeed, the nade's a little bit too late, sadly, to actually do damage to the player who was putting the bomb in place. But again, Endpoint at least have themselves the man advantage coming into the retake. Good work, though. Alternate are having a lot of success, even with these weaker investments, at getting onto the bomb site and getting the bomb planted. So definitely something that they'll be looking back at with the guns available. But perhaps they could even be winning out right now. It's a 2-on-2. Crucial's low health and has been finished off. And although Robin has got forward onto the bomb site, I don't think he realizes he had just traded places pretty much with Cressy, who had moved through that smoke as well as it was fading away. An easy kill then from behind, and from above as 9-9. Alternate attacks are able to steal it away. They had a few players upgraded to pistols and also a little bit of Kevlar, but there wasn't much at all in that round right there. That's one that should have been Endpoints. And instead now they are left in a position where they do decide to take the eco. I like that. But obviously, they're only going to get 1900. So, in the case of Thomas and Robin, at least, if they want to get the M4s out, they'll be left with pretty much no nades behind us. So, not the ideal position to be in. This is a chance for Alternate to try and get some rounds here early on their T side. And with that, we get a lot of momentum rolling their way. As you said, normally the T side is where you're going to be feeling a little bit better here on Vertigo.
Yeah, like that's what you would expect. And with Endpoint having to deal with the current mess, which is their economy, there's a fair chance that aTTaX can take this cleanly. If they play their cards right, they might not have to recuperate any losses moving forward. In any case, another pop flash. This will allow Thomas for a free challenge, though it seemed to have been read well by Skrunk. The UMP helping immensely in this instance as well. The two Deagles left. Oi, fair enough. I mean, if Crucial had been able to sneak on by on short, and potentially linger a little bit longer in that position, Surreal might have had a chance to get in there and start paving his own way through. But in this current stance, that's not going to be the case. 10-9 as aTTaX secure themselves the lead and start picking out the weak links in Endpoint's defense. Now, as I said, aTTaX had to deal with an A ramp push continuously yesterday. And seems like they'll be doing the same themselves, looking for that continuous control towards the A ramp itself. One thing to mention would be that what this kind of builds up a little bit is the fact that Endpoint might be preemptively putting 3 players continuously on A, 1 on mid and 1 on B. And if aTTaX are to abuse that, they could. You know, they could go for a quick B split through middle or a quick B mid push, as we saw Endpoint attempt it on their own T side and quite successfully actually getting it. So let's see if perhaps aTTaX a little bit later on will try to switch that out and try to surprise Endpoint at their own game.
Yeah, definitely possible. I mean, it's certainly going to be in the mind of Endpoint now that they have to worry about this area after how those last few rounds have gone once they've been challenged around that position. For now, they don't really have to put too much of a stack. They're actually looking to go aggressive over on the B side of the map as well, I believe, just looking at the radar. They've got one player up close, at least, who can hold around that area now and allow for a little bit extra of a stack, I guess, to be put over towards that A side of things, which is understandable. There's been quite a bit of noise made around this position so far from alternate attacks. They're just waiting for that smoke to fade away before they can finally make a move. But look at that nade. Skrunk is the one who takes the brunt of the damage, really. Mirbit had already been, I believe, spammed down. But even the small bit on towards Stefan and Slacks can certainly help. A few body shots at the M4 sometimes doing mid-90s, so it can certainly be useful. But let's see, 55 seconds left, no kills at least as of yet, as Alternate will be able to go forward. Again, it does seem like full focus pretty much is going to be on this A side of the map, but as I had said, with that B aggression earlier on coming in from Endpoint, they do have a little bit of a read. Oh, but the boost, a different boost than what we had seen coming in on the previous half, so trying to maybe be a little bit more unpredictable with it, but a complete read being had by Cressy. He hits the headshot, and now they're ready to go forward. The smokes, the execute going down, the molly to try and stop anyone from being in position to stop it. But as we can see, Endpoint, they're playing relatively aggressive, so they do have the forward stance. And with the Molotov as well, could certainly be delaying this push. The bomb is going to have to just pretty much sprint straight on and just start planting at this point. That's going to be so risky. The flash goes down. Cressy actually just tapping it. It's actually Stefan, sorry, who had the bomb, but it was Cressy who was there with him. And neither of them find success as this round is done.
One hell of an attempt, one hell of a hold. Endpoint putting up their walls and making sure they hold on the onslaught. aTTaX perhaps a little bit too divisive in that instance, perhaps being a little bit too intense on their solo approaches. But they have the money to rebuy. They have the element here that can still bring them back around. As Endpoint did tie it together, it's going to be down to this current ramp control where it's all going to be decided against. aTTaX, they're going to stay away from pushing forward. They are not going to be trying to be cheeky, just like Endpoint were in their own rounds and paying quite a little bit, or quite a high price in its instance. Skrunk, though, seemingly wanted to get himself on towards yellow. Stefan pulling forward. Mighty Max, where's the support? It's crucial, leaving him hanging. That is a bit of a surprise. I mean, aTTaX again secure a free entry. That should not have happened from the first place, or in the first place. And once again, Endpoint having to work around with a loss in mind.
Yeah, and you can see because obviously Crucial wasn't able to get the trade there, he has regressed elsewhere. Thankfully, turns around there to avoid the flash and flicks back in time, looking for more. And he is hungry. He's just going to go ahead and take whatever he wants right now. That second kill being connected on towards the head there of Mirbit. He will eventually fall, but I don't think it's going to be too much of a worry considering Thomas was just pushing around the back of Stefan as he was being stacked on by nades. Slacks maybe should be someone they're worried about considering how he's been playing throughout this map so far. But retrieving the bomb, of course, is his main goal. Gets the headshot on Thomas, who actually was pushed forward. Surreal is immediately following up in the same position, so I don't know if Slacks is going to expect that, but at this point you would imagine he at least will be cautious at that spot. Obviously knowing someone could have, well, knowing Surreal could have shifted his position over. And indeed...
Yeah. Close call.
I thought he was going to make a forward. I thought he was actually going to be able to make a forward just about in time there.
Yeah.
I figured the Molotov, that since he had thrown it down, at least would make him think, yeah, he's either in the connector to spawn or else wrapping around behind me right now, so I figured he'd have maybe a slightly better idea, but it was a tough spot to be in. There was multiple different positions he could be playing from. And Surreal, he brings them back into the lead here with that 1v1.
That was a attempt. Slacks obviously didn't consider the fact, or didn't even consider the option that there's a chance of that flank coming behind him. I mean, obviously, you know, as you mentioned, they are fearing him a little bit, and he knows that. He knows how they play against him, and or at least sees it. So he's thinking to himself, most likely the player is tucked away in a corner, patiently waiting for a chance or an opportunity to perhaps get at him as he will be planting the bomb. The money for aTTaX, though, crashes upon arrival, and they are going to have to rely on... Okay, seems like... No eco will be played. Slacks glass cannon. The rest full utility. One Mech-10 and one Galil. Just extremely risky. This is very unlike aTTaX usually. I mean, they force up on pistol rounds, not usually on rounds like this, and or semi-pistol on second rounds after pistols if they lose or such. But let's see if it actually works out. They know that the economy of Endpoint is very low. They know they can break them here. That's true. So, you know, there's a good reason why they bought up. But that reason might not be... Well, it's not enough in my mind. If they don't have a game plan that will succeed, then it's a huge waste of an opportunity for the next to be a proper, full, well-equipped round for them. I mean, Slacks had $4,750 in order to afford this bloody AWP even.
Oh, that nade. Thankfully, Slacks wasn't a bit closer to that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think the game plan maybe was Slacks, if I'm being honest, coming into this round, just because he did have the op available and with how he's been playing so far. But certainly with the damage that he took in the beginning and with the damage Stefan has took as well now, it really shouldn't be one that Endpoint they're going to struggle with too much on paper. But we'll see. These weapons and these approaches have definitely stolen away rounds in the past. And yeah, Thomas is actually going to be immediately overwhelmed. Mighty Max only able to get one, which is just not enough in that position, considering they're already now down by a man. And unfortunately, the follow-up spam not going to be doing too much either. Good damage overall, but they've lost the bomb. They've lost the bomb site. They've given up the bomb plant, and they've given up another life as Robin even goes down. Thankfully, Crucial returns that one instantly to open up the sandbags area and give them the chance to move out without having to worry about the op. But a 2-on-3, this is going to be a very difficult retake with that time already ticking away.
Given how it swings here, most certainly the op actually being lined up as Stefan is able to put that to work. The blind spot, unfortunately for Crucial. And the round actually successful for aTTaX. It pays off. The risk pays off. The reward is quite high. It's not only the round itself, it's the economy crashing back on the heads of Endpoint, and with that in mind, they'll be forced to go into a rebuy. 2 rounds in a row is what they got, and that destroys their loss bonus down to, well, brings their loss bonus down to 1.4. And in this current instance, we can see them obviously reinvesting. It's going to be Deagles across the board with a single M4 and a little bit of utility for Mighty Max. That's it. Everything else in between has just been a bit of a swing and a miss. Oh, Cressy, the timing though. The flank here could absolutely work if Cressy's not going to be aware of it. This could be monumental for Endpoint, actually. This push down B ramp. The most important moment right now in the round itself is that flank. Although, apparently, they're not going to be using it. Fair enough.
Yeah, kind of thankfully, because Mirbit was watching it with an op. They've gotten the kill, though, over towards ramp, so now they can actually be happy enough with that. They can leave Surreal back to hold if anyone decides to move away. You can see he's sitting in the spawn in a position where he should be able to spot if they move towards B as well. And then at that point, still have a potential flank on towards B. So yeah, slowing things down since they do have the man advantage. They've only got the one rifle, though, alongside those pistols. So it is still not going to be easy by any means right now for Endpoint to go ahead and close out this round. aTTaX, we've seen what they're capable of with this A approach, and again, it looks to be what they fall back on once they do actually need to get themselves the round win, of course. 2 smokes still available. Oh, they're going to be walking into a stack, though. 3 of the players are sitting up close to the smoke. Unfortunately, the legs, of course, are spotted. Thomas and Robin both go down. Crucial's able to get one back, but gets caught then in transition, leaving it into the 2-on-3. Mighty Max not able to connect, sadly. There was 2 players who were low as well. If he'd have even gotten one, then this would have been very winnable for Surreal. It still is, for sure. Doesn't manage to quite connect the shot there on the low health player towards the sandbags. If he gets this kill on Cressy, though, then both of the remaining players would be really low. But for now, they're not really giving those chances away. They know that it'd still be winnable if they were to let one of those players even drop right now. Surreal does want to stick around, though.
Yeah, he can get an AK out of this all. Maybe even another frag if, of course, Slacks will be feeling...
Screw the frag. Out of there with that rifle.
Yeah, like, the rifle is far more worth it, right? I mean, especially with the buy they've invested. They desperately need to pull out with some sort of... What is... aTTaX? Hello? I mean, they might... I mean, that was... At that point, you know, you were wondering why are they lingering so long around the bomb with 2 players being particularly low. But they get away and to safety before things get out of hand. 12-11. Endpoint. This eco round with only the AK for Surreal, Robin having mini Kevlar and a Deagle to work with, the rest P250s to be picked up. And this right here by Stefan is what really counts the most. The double that he pulls up allows the rest of alternate attacks to start pushing onto site unobstructed and with minimal effort, really. Having to handle the M4 with the pop flash as well, it gives them that free take of the site afterwards. Cressy, this time around. He's not going to be ready for the push, as Surreal takes his head off. An M4 being retrieved by Thomas. Luckily, the bomb is not lost in that instance for aTTaX, but they are going to be making their move towards A site yet again. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, they love this A-bomb site, and I understand why. They've gotten the bomb plant pretty much every time they've even attempted it, so there is definitely reasons for them to keep going in this direction. A great recovery right here. I was really worried when Mighty Max was able to get that kill on Stefan, but it just doesn't matter. The Mac 10 up close just tears anyone who tries to push through the smoke apart, and with a little bit of help then from Slacks as well, as he reaches 31 frags, actually already over the 31. We're having some incredible standout performances on an individual basis, at least today. Obviously, in the previous matchup, we've seen I'm blanking, goddammit.
aTTaX, yeah.
aTTaX, yeah, that's who it was. He played
yeah.
incredible on Train.
I mean, Slacks, I think he's definitely the rising star of aTTaX, who's basically been truly outperforming and just showing his prowess every single time he plays. With the op especially, he's been one of the most proficient players I've seen in this league, and I would dare to say to equal him to Shiro and the like, even in that instance. But let's hold on. The A push through ramp, finding purchase. Endpoint will be able to take control out of the hands of aTTaX. Losing Stefan is a problem. We can see the frustration in the movement of Slacks. He's not happy with how it's all been going here. Mirbit, lurk, a bit late to middle. And the decision now has to be made by aTTaX. Do they try to retake A ramp? I think that's one of the goals they'll be having here. Almost certainly so.
Yeah, they're delayed slightly, unfortunately, by a Molotov that comes in at a pretty good time from Endpoint. You do need this round. Without it, then it probably will be alternate just going ahead and closing things out. And unfortunately, again, despite the opening kill actually going the way of Endpoint very, very quickly, it is returned on by alternate, not only on the ramp itself, but also over around middle, which has now left a massive fear in the minds there of the B rotators, as they have to be extra cautious on their way over. Slowing down that rotation and, yeah, keeping Mighty Max in trouble. Cressy does damage, but realizes that he was in a bit of trouble there, so he falls back away. But at this point now, Endpoint have the full stack in place, and Mighty Max, even being low health, doesn't care. Goes for the flank, finds Slacks at least, but he will be dropped in return quickly.
Oh, Mirbit has to hold. He does hold. The bomb goes down. It's a one-on-one. The reload for Mirbit. It is a clutch reload. But Robin, smarter and faster in that regard, goes for the immediate re-engagement, as Endpoint are saved by the bell once again. And in this case, Robin, man. This guy. Second time we're seeing him
Robin
pull
a bell.
off.
It's rude.
Oh.
He's a beautiful woman.
I don't know who she is, but I mean, either way, Robin pulls it off, man. He gets it.
Yeah, it was huge. As I said, they were probably done without that. It would have been 14 for alternate. It would have left Endpoint in a position where they needed to decide if they wanted to keep on going for those force buys, or if maybe they wanted to take an eco eventually. But no, they deny that from happening. And if they get this round here, then they're probably taking the lead again before they have to go up against another gun round. And at least at that point would be on the brink of securing themselves in overtime. Oh, Stefan got legged down there through the corner of the box, I believe, by Crucial. So that's some pretty solid damage being found right in the beginning here of this round.
Yeah, that's a great start. Endpoint, they had successfully overtaken A ramp the previous round, and they seem to have different motives or different agendas this time around, respectively taking to a bit of a slower approach, as Mirbit will be trying to fake out a bit of a mid-take. The rest of aTTaX slow walking in towards ramp itself. That was heard. That jump by Slacks was a dead giveaway. Their opponents lurking beyond the grave. As aTTaX will now reveal with the Molotov into cement. A good nade, bringing down Stefan even lower, as Skrunk is stacked equally so. Endpoint seemingly having a good awareness in what is coming their way. The only question that remains in this instance is, the hell is Stefan doing? Pushing in solo, low HP as he is. That is a dangerous endeavor, and he pays it with his life instead of allowing his teammates to help him. Counter molly's being thrown. Thomas is gonna go in wild. Gonna be caught though. Mirbit and Skrunk the double in mere instance. All of a sudden, the A defense melts away like it was never present there in the first place. What a wonky little compilation we're seeing here. And Slacks takes a wild turn. I mean, trade of frags continuous, but in the end favors for aTTaX. Even though Stefan played it a bit wonky there. Again.
Yeah, there's been so many rounds here where alternate attacks with a man advantage or with a two-man advantage, I think even in one or two cases, are able to just execute on towards A, and they manage to win it out, partly from hitting the initial openings, but also because a few times at least we've seen Endpoint being a little bit over-aggressive before they're all set up for that retake and getting caught around the smokes and such. So yeah, this is just heartbreaking. This could be it for Endpoint, unfortunately, left to take the eco, and at that point they'll be playing to try and pull it back into an overtime, and even then, they're not going to have the greatest of buys. The buy will still be quite limited to try and at least overcome the first of those 3 rounds that are going to be required. So a long road ahead of Endpoint, or at least a difficult one, as Surreal's pretty aggressive right now. He may be able to catch 1 or 2 players off guard. That'd be nice. It's unlikely he'd be able to retrieve a weapon, though, so it is just a P250 he's going to have to rely on. And indeed, despite getting the first couple shots off uncontested, he will eventually be taken down before being able to actually finish anyone off, sadly.
A for effort, right? Not much it counts for. Decent damage, but being alone in that instance doesn't really do too much justice. 15 to 12 is what we'll be looking at. An Endpoint 3 rounds in a row is not impossible. It's not going to be easy, though. So far, aTTaX have been able to stave off the majority attempts of either ramp control, of either any sort of challenges, and even the A defense having been put to the test many a times over. Endpoint failing to deliver in quite a few of those tests. Now, one would imagine that in this case, Endpoint, obviously looking for exit frags, should be able to get at least 1 or 2. But look at aTTaX. They're setting themselves up in a way where, yeah, they lose scrunch, sure. They're not going to give a single weapon to Endpoint if they can help it, as they shouldn't. This is it. It's going to be M4s across the board. Utility-wise, okay-ish. No kits by the looks of that. Which, you know, I always have to point it out. I would have much preferred to see a kit on the side of, let's say, Mighty Max or somebody to sacrifice their 1 smoke or 1 nade or 1-2 flashbangs in order to get the kit out instead of just 2 flashbangs. I mean, yeah, they can help, but the kit is kind of like essential in this instance.
Especially with how often the bomb is being getting planted over on that A side of the map. It has been a bit of a struggle for them to actually stop the bomb going down. Sure, they can contest ramp early and maybe try and get themselves an advantage, but a lot of the time then they do just have to give it up, and then once the smokes go down, there's not a lot they can do about the bomb being planted, as we've seen. So it's certainly risky, but we'll see if it's going to work out for them. They do need this round, obviously, otherwise this map is going to be done, and it will be, of course, alternate with a map lead after this being their map choice. So, I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world for Endpoint, but ideally they probably were looking for the victory. As I said, a map that Endpoint certainly are a very capable team on, even if it wasn't their own choice. Nice setup, though, crucial. Playing up close, also has the support of another player right beside him who's going to be able to pop out once needed, and indeed, not expecting Crucial, he's going to be able to find one. Thomas then peeks in, and they're just decimating this bush all alone. Crucial gets himself a quick double, and Thomas again ready to swing in. Mirbit, a small little bonus, they've been able to find 2 frags at least, but it doesn't matter for Endpoint. They're able to get the round win. They have enough to at least ensure they have the weapons here in this round. A little bit limited maybe in nades now because of the drops having to come in, but as I said, that was certainly the most difficult of the 3 rounds that Endpoint need for the overtime, so we'll see now if they're able to make it happen. 2 to go, certainly a reachable goal. Yeah, that was, as I said, a strong setup and just absolute decimation there around ramp.
Yeah, very successful hold, something you rarely get to see unless the team is extremely confident in their own abilities, and even then usually you have to have an op or an early entry that kind of secures you.
They stuck around though because they didn't have the kit, I would imagine. As I said, if they fell back, then they were going to lose that bomb site for sure.
Yeah, guaranteed. Like, it would make sense that they would stuck around because of that, right? They don't want to allow any sort of control to be passed to aTTaX, no matter how minuscule it might seem. Every single mistake could cost you the round in that instance, and as you said, the bomb plant being effectively going down almost every single time, it is a bit of a scary thing. Finally, this time around, though, utility is going to be favoring them quite heavily. They have a lot of many a Molotov available, a few smokes as well, and with the op up on Crucial, there is a way that this could go wildly wrong for aTTaX just yet. we are looking at a potential OT coming up, if that is going to be the case. Here comes the execution itself, and here comes the take itself. It's all eyes on Endpoint. They have to hold up the line. They have to make sure this does not get out of hand. Cressy jumping onto Big Box. Not sure what the plan there was. I mean, surely he wants to get a bit of a advanced position working, but his angle just not favorable. As Crucial is watching from Castle. It's all eyes on Endpoint and their retake capabilities.
Yeah, they're waiting for another opening before they go forward, and yeah, Crucial's eventually given it. He knew Stefan was in towards the sandbags. He spots the head popping up. Boost above the smoke here going to be found. The Mermaid does get surreal, but they should have pretty much the info now on everyone, because obviously it took two to get the boost in. They knew the op was around these sandbags. Yeah, I was very confused there. No one was on the bomb. Robin hops on just in time, and he manages to get it. I don't know, I was looking at the player shooting in from the alley right there, and that looked like he should have been dead, but there was other players to focus on as well. But if he stopped that defuser, it was done.
100% it was done.
Didn't even hit him, did he?
Nope, nobody hit him until Slacks finished him off. And this chaotic moment here, luckily Endpoint realized that they are running out of time, and right there, Mirbit.
He wasn't even fighting Mighty Max. I thought that's what must have happened, but even then I was thinking he probably shouldn't have fought Mighty Max and just tried to deny the defuse. But that's what he was trying. He just had an awkward spray. That is so unfortunate.
It quite is, yeah. And, well, Endpoint with that in mind, they secure the 14th. We are in 30 rounds again, as we will be seeing a little bit of a hectic, chaotical continuation. Endpoint might be able to draw into OT. Now, remember what I said yesterday, aTTaX, they were forced to play OT. They had no option. They did win it 19-17. Came very close, but nonetheless, they played OT. And they seem to have lost a little bit of confidence here. Likewise, as soon as they start losing a few rounds and they're not getting their way, they kind of start making a few foolish mistakes, playing solo, starting to approach sites on their own accord. Although this time, Thomas... This is a risky endeavor by him. He is single-handedly trying to clean out a ramp. No support, no flash, no nada. As the utility for Endpoint is so low, we can see no kits as well. This is currently a bit of a problematic position to be in. I mean, to say the least, even.
Yeah, it's certainly one that they're going to be worrying about just a little bit here. As you said, no kit. Just one smoke and one HE. Thankfully, the push is fairly delayed. The smoke down here on the alleyway is able to stop Cressy from being able to move forward, and with that they decided to slightly slow the push overall, but as the smokes go in, the jump peek from Cressy gets the info, spams in through the smoke then, and finds that headshot on towards Crucial. I think he may have been still pretty much in the air at that point as well. Either way, ridiculous kill. The helmet, the lack of helmet rather, ends up unfortunately costing him his life, and yeah, now a difficult retake 3-on-4. No nades, no kit to work with. They just need these kills, and they are not able to find them so far. Eventually, Robin will step up to get his second of the round, but unfortunately taken so much damage to do so. Left on 4 health, and with a nade coming in, left dead. 16-14 alternate attacks. They're able to get the win here on their own map choice, but it was a close one. It was not an easy effort by any means.